Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spin Cycle Live. I am your host, Nathan Hale. Yet another news day. It's Friday. Finally, it's Friday. Last day of the week. Who's ready for the weekend? I know I am. We've got so much to talk about, so much news to go over, and yeah, we gotta get right into it. We are talking about South Park, Glenn Powell, or not Glenn Powell. Is that his name? Glenn Powell? Not Glenn Powell. Jerome Powell. That's it. Jerome Powell, Fed chair, Joe Biden's book deal. We got all of it to get into. But first, tell me how you're doing. Hope you're having a great, fantastic day. If it was any better for me, I just don't think I could stand it because I'm here with all of you. And yeah, if you're not following the show on all the platforms, go and do that. YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter, all the platforms. It's scrolling across the screen down there. Go and follow in all the different places. But with that, let's get into our first story of the week. This comes from Fox News. So, White House fires back after South Park mocks Trump and Paramount settlement. So, South Park depicts Trump as Satan's lover and lying to him about the Epstein files. The White House fired back at South Park on Thursday for mocking President Donald Trump during its season premiere. South Park's 27th season premiere on Wednesday depicted the president in bed with Satan while talking about his alleged Jeffrey Epstein cover-up and took shots at his recent settlement with Paramount. Both scenes included crude depictions of his genitalia. Quote, "This show has been relevant for over 20 years and is hanging on by a thread with uninspired ideas in a desperate attempt for attention," White House spokesperson Taylor Rogers told Fox News Digital. President Trump has delivered on more promises in just 6 months than any other president in our country's history, and no fourth-rate show can derail President Trump's hot streak. The episode featured Trump suing the town of South Park and eventually reaching a settlement with the fictional Colorado town for $3.5 million and a commitment to produce pro-Trump public service ads. In one of the ads, a lifelike depiction of an overweight Trump was shown walking through a desert. A voiceover of the ad stated, quote, "Donald J. Trump, no matter how hot it gets, he's not afraid to fight for America." The mock PSA appeared to be a parody of Trump's recent settlement with CBS and parent company Paramount Global. Trump has said the settlement includes an 8-figure allocation set aside for advertisements, public service announcements, or other similar transmissions in support of conservative causes by the network in the future, but will be paid for by incoming owners following a long-planned merger. Elsewhere in the episode, Trump was shown dodging accusations of hiding the details of sex predator Jeffrey Epstein's case from the public, including accusations from Satan, who is depicted as Trump's lover. So I've been seeing people online, lots of conservatives saying, oh, South Park isn't a conservative show any longer because they went after Trump. Well, number one, they went after Trump back in 2016, guys. They did, right? And South Park was never a conservative show to begin with. To say that it was, I think that is entirely laughable. It's never been a conservative show. South Park, at its core, has always been a show that has made fun of everyone, no matter what has been happening, for the most ridiculous reasons, right? This is hardly out of the league of South Park. Now, what I think is interesting is all of the people on the internet uh getting all up in arms about this instead of just not watching. Like, I watched the episode. I was it South Park's best episode? Not really. Like, I thought it was just like okay. There were like some funny parts of it. Like, I didn't really care for like the Trump stuff that was in it. I think it could have been funnier. I think there's a lot of things they could have done that would have been funnier for the show, but it wasn't bad. I mean, not the worst episode of South Park is not the best either. What I do think is funny though is, like I said, people who just willingly watched it and are getting all up in arms about it, or didn't even watch it and are taking all these opinions about it. So, if you're going to get offended like that, don't watch the show. We need to lighten up, guys. We need to lighten up a little bit. If you're going to get offended by comedy, don't watch it. This goes for conservatives and for the liberals. Because the liberals complained for years about South Park 2 and just about comedy in general. If you're going to get offended by it, don't watch it. I saw a video that was released. I think it was a Jubilee video or something that came out that was they had on a whole bunch of people. I think someone called themselves a fascist or something. And I saw a Twitter post about it. I tweeted about it if you didn't see it. That was like, we need to do something about these fascists. We need to take care of them, right? Basically insinuating like we should take them out. And it's like, if you're going to get offended by someone like that, why are you watching it? Like, I think the bigger thing here is like not really what the content was, but like, why are you having such an emotional, visceral response to this? I don't think the White House should have even made a statement about this to begin with. I think they should have just totally ignored it. Making a statement about it, I think is kind of insane, especially when you're saying that the show has been relevant for like 20 years. That's certainly not true, especially when you consider that they just signed a huge contract to renew the show for I think like 4 more seasons or something like that, for a lot of money. And it has absolutely been relevant all this time. It's still relevant today. So, I don't know. If you're not a fan of South Park, don't watch it. If you're going to get offended if someone makes a crude joke about Trump, don't watch the show. If you like South Park, then more power to you. I happen to like South Park, so that's just my opinion. So, if you don't like it, don't watch it. You're not. I'm not going to get offended. Neither of those guys. So, neither are the creators of the show. So I gotta say, all right. So about George Santos. So George Santos hasn't been in the news for quite a while. George Santos bids dramatic farewell to supporters, critics, before he begins 87th-month prison sentence. The curtains fall. Former Representative George Santos posted a theatrical farewell on social media Thursday night, just hours before he was to begin serving a federal prison sentence for fraud and identity theft. Quote, well, darlings, the curtains fall, the spotlight dims, and the rhinestones are packed, Santos wrote on X. From the halls of Congress to the chaos of cable news, what a ride it's been. Was it messy? Always. Glamorous? Occasionally. Honest? I tried most days. To my supporters, you made this wild political cabaret worth it. To my critics, thanks for the free press. The former New York congressman is expected to report to federal custody Friday to begin serving the 87th month sentence just over 7 years after pleading guilty in 2024 to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. Santos was assessed the maximum sentence in April by U.S. District Judge Joanne Seabird. He was also ordered to pay nearly $374,000 in restitution and forfeit more than $205,000 in fraud proceedings. His guilty plea followed a sweeping investigation into campaign finance fraud, donor identity theft, and false COVID-era unemployment claims. Quote, this prosecution seeks the truth that my office is committed to aggressively rooting out public corruption, said U.S. Attorney John J. Durham, who called the sentence, quote, Judgment Day for Santos and justice for his victims. Nassau Court District Attorney Annie T. Donnelly said Santos, quote, traded in his integrity for designer clothes and a luxury lifestyle. What's new for congressmen? Prosecutors shared how Santos and his campaign treasurer, Nancy Marks, doctored donor records to qualify for National Republican Party funding. They fabricated contributions from Santos' family and falsely reported a $500,000 loan from Santos, though he had under $8,000 in his accounts. He also stole credit card information from donors, including victims he knew were elderly persons suffering from cognitive impairment or decline, and made unauthorized charges to fund both campaign and personal expenses, according to the DOJ. Santos was elected in 2022 after flipping New York's 3rd district for the GOP. His resume was easily debunked. He falsely claimed academic degrees, Wall Street jobs, and family ties to the Holocaust and 9/11. He was also expelled from Congress in December 2023 after a scathing ethics report, becoming just the sixth member ever removed from the People's House. So, I'm no fan, I'm no friend of George Santos. I think that they're used him a little bit as a scapegoat for just what was happening in government in general. I mean, frankly, a lot of what he's done is not any worse than what a lot of congressmen have done. I would hardly say that George Santos lying on the campaign trail about his life and his upbringing is any different than a lot of congressmen lying about what they're doing in Congress or lying about what they're doing with their money or covering things up for themselves. So I'm sure that if you really rooted out Congress, you'd find a whole lot of worse crimes happening. That being said, I'm a fan of the law being enforced whenever someone commits a crime. So, am I against George Santos getting a prison sentence for what he did? No. Should it have been 7 years? I don't know. I don't know about 7 years. I mean, he wasn't exactly a violent criminal, so hopefully he gets out early. But we'll see what happens with all that. But the George Santos story arc, I felt like just came out of nowhere. Like, just all of a sudden, this guy's elected, and we're finding out he's lying about everything. That he was a drag queen in Brazil. That, like, all these different things. I think the biggest thing that makes me sad about this whole story is he had to be a Republican. And because of George Santos being a Republican now, it looks bad on our party as a whole. So I think that the National Republican Party could do a better job at vetting who they're funding and who is running in their elections under their party name. But you know, what are you going to do? Things are going to fall through the cracks. And of course, he had to run in a Democrat state who was certainly going to prosecute him if they found out anything negative about him. I'm not really sure how lying about your family being in the Holocaust or 9/11 is any sort of crime, but I don't know. I guess they made the allegation that he defrauded donors by saying, "Oh, my family was suffering, so maybe they gave money because of that." I don't know. So it's a whole thing. Let me know what you think about it. Send me a message, tweet at me. Let me know what you think. But see you in 7 years, George Santos. I'm excited for his docu series after he gets out of prison on A&E. It's gonna be great. Next story. So Trump and Fed Chair Powell bicker during tense central bank visit. Trump and Powell had a tense meeting at the Federal Reserve disagreeing over a $2.5 billion renovation cost. Trump claimed it was costing U.S. taxpayers $3.1 billion. Trump criticized Powell for keeping interest rates at 4.3% and accused him of economic mismanagement despite rate cuts under Biden. President Donald Trump and U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell appeared together for a tense meeting July 24th as the U.S. president toured the central bank after ramping up his attack on its management of the economy. President Trump, who wants to oust Jerome Powell for refusing to lower interest rates, but likely lacks the legal authority, has threatened to fire the Fed chair over costs overrunning for a renovation of its Washington headquarters. During a brief but painful awkward exchange in front of the news media during a tour of the building, the pair bickered over the price tag for the makeover, which President Trump said was a $3.1 billion cost. The actual cost of the facelift has been put at $2.5 million, and Mr. Powell was quick to correct the president, telling him, quote, "I haven't heard that from anybody." President Trump showed Mr. Powell a sheet of paper apparently listing construction costs and was told curtly that he was including work on the William Mackenzie Martin Jr. building, which was not part of the project. Quote, "You're including the Martin renovation. You just added in a third building," Mr. Powell scolded. Mr. Hale shot back, quote, "No, it was not. It was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago. It's not new." So I think it's a little bit of a bad look for Trump to like whip out something like that. I mean, I suspect what happened was someone put paper in his hand and said, the Fed is lying about how much the renovation is costing, gave Trump a piece of paper, and let him have it. And Trump, who's not exactly used to people necessarily standing up to what he's saying in person, uh, thought he was just going to get away with it, and that didn't happen. So, if the numbers are accurate or not, I don't know, but it certainly seems like they're not accurate, and Jerome Powell's in the right here. In terms of the interest rates being lowered, I certainly think that interest rates could be lowered, but I recognize that the Fed is made up of a panel of experts. Their whole job is to regulate the economy and set interest rates where they see fit, based on their data. They're a whole bunch of nerds. So I trust the nerds when it comes to saying the rates. And nothing that I'm going to say about it is going to change. And nothing that Trump's going to say about it is going to make a change either. The nerds have to have the math in front of them to lower the rates, and if they don't have the math, they're not going to do it. So I think that some of it could be politically motivated on the Fed's part, but I think a large part of it is just simply that they don't feel like it's the right time for it. So I'd love to hear if they're what the argument for lowering the rates are. I mean, I know what they are, but like, what's the actual mathematical argument? Like in times of past, have they lowered rates accordingly based on where the economy is at the time? I don't know. I'm interested to know more about stuff like that. But seems like nothing's going to happen until Trump decides to fire the guy. And I feel like I've been sitting here for 6 months hearing Trump complain about the Fed chair and not doing anything about it. So either fire him or stop complaining about it. So I'd love to see him get fired and put a new person. I'd love to see Scott Bessent as the Fed chair. I think he'd do a great job. I would miss him as the Treasury Secretary, but I think he'd do a great job as Fed chair. But that's all I gotta say about that. All right, let's go and talk about New York City for a moment. So New York City's been in the news a lot recently, and they're back in the news again with their sanctuary city. So Trump administration guns for New York City in lawsuit over sanctuary city status. The Trump administration sued New York City on Thursday over its sanctuary city policies during the city, arguing the city has illegally implemented the federal government from enforcing immigration laws. The Trump administration sued New York City on Thursday over its sanctuary city policies, arguing that the city has illegally impeded the federal government from enforcing immigration laws. The lawsuit asserts that the city is violating the federal government's jurisdiction under the Constitution's Supremacy Clause. The city's sanctuary policy is designed to protect illegal aliens from federal law enforcement infringed upon the federal government's authority to police immigration. Quote, New York City's sanctuary provisions have the purpose and effort of making it more difficult for federal immigration officers to carry out their responsibility in the jurisdiction. New York City's sanctuary laws, quote, intentionally obstruct the sharing of information envisioned and affirming protected by Congress, including sharing basic information such as release dates, court appearance dates, and custodial status. The lawsuit states the challenge provisions also impair federal detention of removable aliens, including dangerous criminals, contrary to federal law. The sanctuary provisions further purport to direct federal officials to procure criminal arrest warrants to take custody of removable aliens, even though Congress has made an explicit policy choice that such apprehension of removal can be effected by civil arrest warrants for immigration enforcement. It continues. The lawsuit also accused the city of effectively ensuring that criminal aliens are released into the streets rather than being turned over to federal authorities for potential deportation. The ban on city officials turning criminal aliens over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement requires, quote, ICE to risk officer safety and expand considerable resources to effectuate arrests in communities. Quote, this intentional sabotage of federal immigration enforcement is unlawful and dangerous. These sanctuary policies have resulted in countless criminals being released into the city who have been held for immigration removal from the United States, the lawsuit states. New York City is the largest in a string of major American cities that have been hit with lawsuits over sanctuary city policies. The Trump administration in June sued Los Angeles in February. The administration also filed a lawsuit against Chicago. Quote, sanctuary cities are only sanctuaries for criminals. President Trump promised to make America safe again and deport criminal illegal aliens. White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson told Fox News in a statement. But sanctuary cities like New York City are working in direct opposition to the mandate that President Trump was elected to fulfill, and the American citizens are paying the price. The Trump administration will not tolerate local politicians interfering in the enforcement of federal immigration law. Sounds great. Sue them into the Stone Age. Get them out of here. Sanctuary cities are so entirely ridiculous. Like, oh, you come to our city, we'll protect you. We won't deport you if you come here. Come here, guys. It's so ridiculous. And if you think for one moment that the left is doing this because they love illegals, you're entirely wrong. The reason why the left wants illegals to come to their cities, to their districts, is so that they get a boost in the census. That's it. If you took out all the illegals that are in this country right now, the amount of congressional districts that would shift into Republican states would be insane. It would all be balanced out way more than it is right now. I mean, one of the reasons why we have such tight margins in Congress right now is because there are so many illegals. It's giving these Democrat states the upper hand in representation. I don't know why we're counting illegals as members of our country and hence deserving of a representative in Congress. They're not citizens, hence they do not deserve to have a representative representing them in Congress, as far as I'm concerned. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, I hope they get sued. I hope it gets overthrown, and I hope that the Trump administration wins. Godspeed, guys. Godspeed. You're going to need it. Our last story of the week. Joe Biden's presidential memoir sells for $10 million. Million. Former President Joe Biden will reportedly receive a $10 million advance for his memoir about his 4 years leading the nation. His 4 years leading the nation, I'd hardly call... Maybe if you combine them together, maybe like a year total, if that. Biden sold the title to the Hatchet Book Group, but its publisher, Little Brown and Company, has not set a date for publication. Biden has said he is, quote, working my tail off writing his book, the Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday. According to the article, former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama made significantly more on their book deals. Penguin Random House acquired the book rights for former U.S. President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama in 2017 for a price that was wildly reported by the time as being in the range of $60 million. President Trump didn't publish a memoir after his first term in office. Alfred A. Knopf, which like Penguin House is owned by Bertelsmann, paid $15 million for President Bill Clinton's 2004 memoir, My Life. Biden and his wife, former First Lady Jill Biden, were reportedly weighing a $30 million tell-all book deal in May, per Breitbart News. Money was reportedly a factor in their decision because son Hunter was millions of dollars in debt due to legal fees surrounding federal cases. His art sales taking a dive, and a memoir that apparently did not fly off the shelves. Anyone who thinks that Joe Biden is writing this memoir, it's an absolute joke. Jill Biden is writing the memoir. Jill Biden, this is the memoir of Jill. They dropped a few letters. It's going to be published by Jay Biden, right? Jay Biden, not Joe, Jay. We all know who that is. That's Jill Biden, right? Jill is writing this book. She's putting in there how great Joe is. She's the only one who's still cognitively there in this relationship. Joe Biden, he left us. He left us several years ago, guys. He was leaving us even way back in 2020. And the fact that we're now coming to a consensus in this country that he has left us, I think is frankly wild. I've been saying that Joe Biden has been gone for quite a while. So, yeah. We'll see if it sells off the shelves or not. I think the only people who are going to be buying this book are the boomer libs who for some reason are obsessed with this guy. and his terrible presidency. So, but yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Short show today, guys. We really flew through it. 26 minutes in. Hope you all had a great time with me today. Have a great weekend. We'll be back here on Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, with yet another episode of this lovely show. Ugh, such a great time spending with you all. I can't wait to see what the news is going to look like and what things are going to look like going forward in the news field. I hope that you're enjoying the show. If you have suggestions on how we could do better as a show, send me a message on Twitter, tweet at me. Make sure you're following me on all the platforms. It's always helpful. And yeah, with that, we'll see you all in the very next show. Hope you have a great weekend. I've been Nathan Hale. This has been Spin Cycle Live. Peace out. Bye.